Social. This is the podcast where I, Dylan Yeager,
Michael Huntington,
and Kevin Shepard
interview independent filmmakers. That's right. If you're a filmmaker, this chair right here could be yours. Cue the intro.
Cue the intro.
Welcome to the show, Indie Social. I know you'll love our guest today, 'cause what we've got for sure will amaze. So take this time and put your stress aside and come with us. Don't be shy, just take a seat and enjoy the ride. Oh, we are Indie Social, yeah.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, our guest is a very dear friend of mine and pretty new and amazing filmmaker. You've seen him in film. You've seen him make the films Happy Birthday, Flee the Light, and Fight Night. He also acted in Detect Me and Stay Indie, and even The Bright Side. Tonight, he'll be premiering Devil's Gambit. Everybody, please help me welcome my dear friend, Derek Smith.
Get over here, Derek. Come on in, buddy. How you doing, man?
Good. How's it going tonight?
Good. Thanks for coming on, dude. Been a
for
long
having
time
me.
coming. So yeah, let's kind of talk about what we're doing tonight. We worked on a project called, well, I guess we all kind of worked on a project called Devil's Gambit.
We did.
So what's sort of the backstory behind that before getting into the film?
I've always been fascinated by people's games, like supernatural games. You should never play this game, never play that game, and tempting fate, all that stuff. So I kind of took a bunch of stories about all these like crazy little games you can play and kind of morphed it into a story. Kind of changing stuff because I want anybody to actually watch this and be like, oh, I'm going to try that game and go home, and my luck, someone's going to get possessed or disappear into another realm or something. I don't know.
Was this based on any game that you used to play, or is this like actually based off of a real thing?
It is a game originally called, I believe it's Death Gambit. So I kind of changed it up a little bit, but yeah, it's supposed to like change your fortune, all that stuff. And I don't know. I just thought it was a fascinating concept. And I was like, what kind of person would want to play that? And well, obviously you'll see in the movie what kind of person would want to play that game and take
I was
that
a
chance.
jerk when I was a kid. We would used to play Bloody Mary, and I would get all my friends like involved, and then I would be like, okay, guys, I'm gonna go try Bloody Mary, and if I'm not back in like 10 minutes, I need you guys to try Bloody Mary to get me back. And then I would hide in the shower, and they would do the Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary 3 times, and then I would jump out of the shower and freak them out. I gotta look at that. Man,
Did you say it 3 times, or wasn't paying attention? They're gonna
Well,
come for you now.
The lights go out. You know what happened?
Yeah, I mean, sort of the same thing. I was always too scared to do Ouija boards. Is that what they're called?
Yeah,
My friends would do those all the time, man. I'd be like, no.
dude,
Yeah,
they
no.
work. I still use them.
All right.
Yeah,
That's
I'm going to scoot a little bit closer to my
that's a little creepy. All right, cool, man. Well, yeah, so we're going to be showing Devil's Gambit. Then after that, we'll come back and talk about your career, a little bit about the film, and what's next for you.
Cool.
All right,
God,
cool.
I can't wait to share the stories I have with this guy.
All right, roll that movie.
You believe this guy? No matter how many times he moves his card, he's still lost.
Yeah, man, quit fucking around.
I don't know, man. Seems like an Eye of the Tiger vibe.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm all in. Still lost, huh? Payday, motherfuckers.
Not so fast. Just like Rocky, you lost. Looks like my payday.
I will have your money first thing in the morning, Jay.
The fuck did he just say?
I didn't bring enough. The stakes kept raising. It was 4 of a kind.
You come in my house and disrespect me at my table?
Come on, Jay. You know I'm good for it.
Oh, I know you're good for it. Now listen carefully. The only reason you're still alive is to bring me my money. You understand?
I understand. Fuck. Where the fuck am I gonna get the money?
Looks like I beat you this time. You got me this time, Grandpa. I'll get you next time.
I'm sure you will, buddy. But just remember, you're playing with the cards. But you're also playing your opponent. Looks like I beat you this time.
Aw, you got lucky this time, Grandpa. I'll beat you next time.
I'm sure you will, buddy.
Well, what other games you know?
I know a couple. Heck, I even got one my granddaddy taught me.
Show me one of those.
I will. But you gotta promise me you will never play this game.
Okay, I promise.
Alright, it has to be dark outside.
Okay.
You put one chair inside and the other on the outside, facing the opposite window.
Wait. What kind of game is this?
Do you want me to continue explaining this game or not?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, yes, sir.
You'll need a deck of cards, a pen, and some paper.
Okay.
You shuffle the deck and you repeat, I leave my fate to luck. I leave my fate to luck. You'll know when the other player arrives.
And who's the other player?
You deal one card each. The person with the highest value card gets the point. The person with the most points at the end of the game when the deck's done wins.
Wins what?
Luck. Riches. Good fortune for the rest of your days.
Okay, well, what if you lose?
He takes you.
Who?
The king of lies.
Oh, come on. This can't be real. Is it?
I wouldn't know, buddy. I've never played it. It's too spooky for me.
Well, you know what? I bet I could win. I'm not scared. I bet I could win.
I'm sure you would, buddy. But keep one thing in mind. Death always wins.
leave my fate to luck. I leave my fate to luck. I leave my fate to luck. Fuck. No! No! I had 4 cards when I left! This is 2 cards. This is not what I had! You cheated me, you son of a...
One more rule, buddy. Probably the most important one. Never, under any circumstances, take your eyes off or step away from the game. Death doesn't like to lose, and he most definitely will try to cheat. And then, you've lost the Devil's Gambit.
And welcome back. That was Devil's. Oh, I gotta mute the TV here. I'm so sorry. Oh my god, technical issues. Anyway,
What
that was
if the
Devil's
indie
Gambit.
social? What if the indie social?
That's true. Yeah, man. So that was something that we worked on. And when did we do that?
Wasn't it like April or no. That was like March.
Was it March? Do you remember?
No, I do not remember.
I don't remember either, man. We've been so busy. I forget when we shoot these things.
This was the first time Kevin and I got to see it.
Yeah, which normally, well, Kevin was, a part of this film, at least behind the scenes. You guys worked together on it with the script. And how did you guys start working together for this project?
When you guys brought me onto the bright side to help out with that, and I just got talking to Kevin. You guys mentioned they did all kinds of writing.
Investing in Christmas, you mean?
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
No, it's okay.
Yeah,
It's all right.
sorry.
No, I was like the
Christmas
Christmas film. I was
film.
like, damn.
Sorry. Yeah, the Christmas film, and I thought, I enjoyed writing it and stuff like that. I go, but I just hadn't mastered getting into a screenplay format, and I knew that's what Kevin did. So I'm like, hey, would you be interested in help me tweak it a little bit? He said, oh yeah, no problem. I'll tell you what, the man works fast too. 'Cause it seems like I was like, hey, can you do something? He's like, yeah, I'll get to it here. And it seems like the next day at work, and like 8
Yeah,
hours
he had
later,
it.
all of a sudden he's like, here, I sent you a draft. I'm like, holy cow.
What sort of intrigued you on this story?
Again, I think it was more of just like the innocence of the basic story and how something so sinister can lie beneath that is what really caught my eye. Just by reading the story was just unbelievable. Like it was just something, like I said, I mean, it seems like, it's a simple card game. And here you have this guy who's made what he would assume a living playing poker against the strongest competitors out there, finds himself in a place he shouldn't be in, and then he turns to an old game his grandpa taught him, and grandpas wouldn't steer you wrong, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a big fan of like, board game movies almost, man, especially working on Shut the Box. And like this one's cool too, because it does have something that, we all did growing up. We're all sort of different age ranges almost. But the one thing we have in common is that we all used to play games growing up. You know what I'm saying? So I think everyone can almost relate to that on some sort of level. So yeah, that's why I was super excited to be a part of this. And plus, we've been working together for, I don't know, 2 years now, maybe.
Yeah, 2.5 years.
We made a lot of stuff, but
I think the first thing we worked on together was Vulnerable.
yeah, you're right. God, yeah, it feels like forever ago too, man. But so for Devil's Gambit, this was your third script that you wrote, right?
Right.
What was different about this one, you think, from the previous ones, from that experience that you got from writing the other ones?
More attention to detail, stringing out, building up the story for the big payoff at the end. Because I feel like the first couple I did, it was just really straightforward, straight through. You go back and look at your early projects, you're like, man, I could have done something. I could have done this different, even the Devil's Gambit now, I look back at it and go, man, well, for the next one, now I know what I'm going to do different. It's just, I don't know, the whole learning experience of just building up the suspense more. Like, that's what I felt like.
It's like you almost learn from everything a little bit, especially I think me and you are a lot alike when it comes to like, once we're done with the project, all right, let's start working on the next one.
Yeah.
Before we even got this one edited, you're already like, all right, I have a next project idea. We're always trying to stay.
Well, I've been writing my own little scripts and stories. I've been writing them since 2008.
Yeah.
I have 8 or 9 sitting on my computer right now that and the problem is I'll write them out. I'll let them sit there. I'll be like, well, now this would be a good idea for a story. So I'm already on to the next thing. It's like, I hyperfixate on something. I do it, I write it, I know it's there. I'm like, well, now what can I do? So then I kind of shuffle through and try to decide what I actually want to do next. One of the earlier ones I wrote, I was so confident in it, and I've already stepped back into it because now I'm changing stuff. Because the whole writing process and directing and just getting the feel for it, I know what I can change to make it better.
Do you ever struggle with like trying to do too many things at once and you start to like, shit, I need to finish this one first? Or are you just so excited to move on to the next one? You're like, I'll get back to that one soon. Is it hard for you to find that balance of finishing something and then?
Not really. Just in my everyday life, I kind of do the same thing. I love reading. I read a ton of books. I'll read 3 or 4 books at the same time.
Jeez.
So I'll go through 4 or 5 chapters and I'll go to the next book. It's that way I never actually burn out of what I'm doing because I'm constantly cycling through until one's done, and I just keep moving forward.
I do that with video games, man.
You do that with video games, man. You're always on something new. Like, what are you doing this week? You're like, I'm playing this new video game. I'm like, damn, Dylan, you're always on a new video game.
Well, I
man.
feel the same way when I'm playing games. It's like if I play one game too long, especially if it's like a longer, like 40-hour game, it's like if I play it too many days in a row, I get burnt out and I'll never finish it. So I have like 5 different games I'm like bouncing back and forth to. I wish I could say it's because of like it's writing, because I'm a filmmaker, but I get inspiration from movies, video games, books I read. So it's just got to keep that creative juices going.
See, I have a hard time. I mean, this is with filming and like video games too, because like I almost feel guilty when I'm not finishing the thing I should be finishing. So like for video games, if I spent $60 on a game, I'm like, all right, man, I got to finish this. I'm not gonna play anything else. And that's the same thing when I work on projects. It's like, I got to finish this one before I work on anything else. And then so I work super hard at finishing that one so I can get to the next one. I have a hard time balancing like 5 or 6 different projects.
Well, when we are gearing up, like when we were getting ready to actually film Devil's Gambit, I do put a stop to everything because I know that if I don't, I'm going to get sidetracked. Stuff's going to start colliding together. I'm going to start getting flustered, get out of order, and then I won't be ready. So
yeah, I do that when I'm in the middle of writing something. I can't watch TV. I can't play video games. I can't do anything because like if I stop, it's not going to get finished. So I got to keep on going.
Yeah, see, I'm a little different in that aspect though, because early on, like I have to work on this project. I got to plot this out. I got to start the scenes, and I got to do dialogue, and I had steps for everything. And in my first project, something would come up. I'd get another idea, or so I'd be like, well, I need to focus on this, so I can't do anything with that right now. And then all of a sudden, I found myself in writer's block. In my story, I can't move forward. And so then I had to just stop and step away. And then I started plotting another idea. And then another idea. So I wouldn't even write that second idea. I would just write whatever came to mind. And then after I get like 3 notes down for 3 different projects, then something triggers me back to that original story. It's like doing the monotony of something else
So
brings out something.
is writer's block a pretty common thing that you have to battle, especially with writing multiple stories?
And that's the thing. I only experienced it when I told myself I had to focus. Now,
Mm.
later on, if it's like, I mean, when we're doing like Shut the Box or, you know, with these scripts that me and Brittany are going over and stuff, it's like, you know what, these are the main focus.
Mhm.
Let's just go through them quick. I know there's not a long-term goal, but yeah, when I was like, I have to write this full script, I got stuck. I got hung up. I got frozen. And so now I'll work on a project and I'll maybe do like 3 scenes for it. And then an idea pops in. So I'll just jump over to that idea quick. And then I'll do what I need to do with that idea. And then I'm right back where I was. So I found myself opened to possibilities. I've never experienced writer's block since.
Wow. Do you ever struggle with writer's block? Is that a thing for you?
Yes. Because
So how does that take effect in your life with writer's block, and how do you kind of combat that?
usually what I'll do is I'll just listen to either a podcast or stories, or like when I'm at work, I'll do my daily, my full-time job. I usually have earbuds in, kind of just listen off, do my own thing. Well, I'll start replaying, where I'm stuck in my head. Well, I have a notepad. I keep my toolbox at work. So I'll usually kind of fidget with it. And I'll be like, well, that'd be a good change to it. And I'll kind of work my way through it. So even when I'm at work, I kind of just zone out and do my own thing. And then the idea will pop up and it'll clear up and I'll kind of work my way through it.
Do you ever have this thing where it's like you're super passionate about something, but like you can't figure a way to get around it, so you just never pick it back up again? Or do you always try to finish it?
I think I've only had one story that I couldn't finish because it was so frustrating that I didn't know what to do with it, didn't know where to go with it. And I'm like, I've got 8 other things. I can focus on that for a while.
And you can always get back to it at some point, and I mean, maybe time is the best thing that you can do with those things.
But luckily I do.
eventually
I
get
mean,
to it.
kind of like what Kevin was saying, I do. If you go through my notebooks, it's so scattered because I'll have an outline here, turn the page, it's a different outline and a different outline. So a lot of times I'll go through my notebooks, I'll be shuffling through the papers, I'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot I even wrote that down. And then the problem I may have had of I don't know what to do with it. Well, now I know what to do with it because I just cleared my mind for a bit and let myself refocus.
Wow. So yeah, I mean, that's some good advice, man. I'm grateful enough to not be a writer, so I'll never have to go through any of that. I have you guys to sort of, go through that pain. In editing, man, there's not really any sort of block that you get. I mean, other than like not wanting to, edit that day, I guess is certain sort of a thing. But anyway, so this is your 3rd project that you've done under Hevioso, right?
Yep.
Talk a little bit about that and like what is the namesake for that? What is the history behind Hevioso?
Oh, Hevioso. Well, I'm a big horror fanatic. I mean, it doesn't matter, psychological, slash, all that stuff. But I've always been real big on, and you kind of see it in everything I do, it's almost like a supernatural force. I mean, I like the outside force. I mean, my favorite kind of movies were never, I like slasher movies, like blood, gore, all that stuff. But I almost like suspense for the sake that it lets the people watching it, enjoying the movie. They can almost create more of a scary monster than you ever can.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Letting the people use their own imagination is almost more terrifying than most of you can put on screen. Because you can look at a practical effect and say, well, that's fake. I see what they did there. But when you're building it up and just giving these little Easter eggs throughout the movie, you're letting them build their own suspense. And that's kind of like Hevioso, because Hevioso is it's based off a voodoo god of revenge and justice. So supposedly when you see a big thunderstorm, that's Hevioso, the god, bringing justice to people who were wronged. And I always thought that was kind of a neat thing. So that's kind of where I picked up the name Hevioso from.
Is that what you think when since you like that so much, when there's a thunderstorm, is that like instantly like what?
Oh, I just like thunderstorms, man. I can fall asleep to it. I mean, I can't count how many times I put on my headphones and just listen to thunderstorms.
As a kid, I used to hate thunderstorms, but as an adult, I'm like, thunderstorms are pretty
Oh,
dope.
dude, I was absolutely terrified. I know my mom's watching. She's gonna be pissed. I used to fake being sick just so I wouldn't have to go to school during a thunderstorm.
Wow. Well, dude, see, I grew up in
I'm
Oklahoma.
gonna get
So,
text message now.
I grew up in Oklahoma, so thunderstorms was like, all right, man, you're probably gonna have a tornado, probably. So it's
No,
like,
I'm the same way, man. Like if there's a thunderstorm, like I'm not scared of the thunderstorm, but I'm terrified of tornadoes. And I'm like looking out the window and like I have nightmares of like twisters like coming down from
dude,
the
I
sky.
have nightmares of tornadoes all the time. Those are the worst nightmares, man.
Yes.
We were actually going on a family trip, and this has only been a few years ago because I had my son with me, and we were gonna go out. Oh, let's just go get some fast food, something for dinner. Like, man, there's a lot of clouds out today. And we pop over the hill and a tornado dropped down and hit. I'm like, I think we'll just turn around and go home now.
Yeah, dude, I've never gone through it. Never want to go through it, man. Stuff seems
We'll
horrifying.
start singing "Jesus Take the Wheel," and I'm not even really.
Actually, I was kind of the idiot. I was kind of hanging out the window. I'm telling everybody to slow down so I can try to get a picture of it on my phone. I'm like, oh, I gotta get a picture while I'm sitting here. How about we just get away from it?
Yeah. We got we got a question here from Wes Worthing. He says, any plan to submit Devil's Gambit to festivals?
I'm not sure yet. It seems like so many festivals. I mean, there's some that do psychological, but people are really going for blood and gore right now.
Yeah.
It seems like if you can, I mean, I would love to submit it. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, if it happens, it happens.
If I find the right festival for it, it seems like I don't want to just throw it at everything because.
Yeah, I think with being a horror film, it's sort of harder in film festivals, especially if film festivals are sort of like trying to schedule their blocks with certain things that have the same vibe. If there's not
Right.
enough horror films, that could kind of, make it difficult to get in there. I mean, there's a ton of things, I think, when having a horror film, how well it could do in a festival.
The one big festival I saw, Atlanta does one. Atlanta does a horror festival every year, and they actually block out just psychological and suspense horror.
Okay.
So
Well,
There's the Hallapalooza here in Iowa.
Halloween-a-palooza, yeah.
Halloween-a-palooza.
That'd
And then
be
there's
cool.
the Muscatine Film Festival. I don't know if they're still doing their festivals or not, but they have a murder and mayhem
Oh
category.
yeah, they do. I forgot about it. We did no reply for that, I
Mhm.
think. Yeah. But yeah, man, I personally think you should attack some festivals and go for that. I mean, why not? I like film festivals because you get a lot of chance to meet people that you haven't met.
Right.
But I also think there's a lot of value in just throwing stuff on YouTube to just let people see your work.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
a big proponent of that. I don't normally like to hold on to my stuff. I like to put it out there and let people watch it, man. Because I get so antsy. I'm like, I don't want to hold this thing forever. I've just spent 60 hours working on the thing. Like, let the people see it.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
so this is your third film. Let's talk about sort of the early days of becoming a filmmaker. I know you sort of did it a little later in life. You sort of had this different life that you were living before you were a filmmaker. What got you into wanting to pursue this?
I've always wanted to since I was a little kid. I mean, I love the movies, but I always wanted to do practical effects. Like I wanted to do. My friend, we actually came home from school one day and I said, hey, let's do this. And we blackened his eye and we gave him a bloody nose and his parents weren't home, but his babysitter was home. And me and another kid waited outside and he walked inside. We heard the babysitter scream. And then she came out cussing at us, asking who the hell we thought we were. And she got super upset about it. I'm like, man, that'd be so cool to do it for a living. But then I started having my own ideas. I'm like, it'd be cool to actually write my own because I don't know. I feel like the horror genre became so stagnant for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I think still is sort of sometimes, man. Like it's sort of
Horror is a hard genre because you either like it or you don't.
right.
And the people that do like it, I mean, the fans are rabid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're gonna nitpick. They're gonna be like, well, this, and this, or this is copying off of this. It's so hard to please horror fans.
Well, I think the difficulty is when like filmmakers are kind of like making the same thing
Yeah.
over and over again. So it's really hard to find something new. And I think you're doing a good job at finding something new. Like that's not Devil's Gambit. It's not something like I think would be in theaters. I haven't seen anything like it. So
Right.
you're doing real good at like coming up with like original
And
ideas.
see, in one of my favorite subgenres of horror, I always love zombie movies. Like one of my favorite movies growing up was Return of the Living Dead. It actually made me not go in my parents' basement for like 5 years.
Return of the Living Dead, is that the black and white one?
No, that's Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, okay.
Return of the Living Dead is basically these how's it go? These guys work in a medical supply building,
Yeah.
and the guy's sitting there and he's like, what's the weirdest thing you've ever seen? He goes, well, remember the movie Night of the Living Dead? He goes, that was real. And the guy calls him. I was like, no, it wasn't. He goes, oh yeah, but it was way smaller. They made the movie so they throw people off the scent. He goes, we got one of the bodies in the basement. See my parents' basement. They go down there and there's this big body in a tank, and the guy's like, that's not real. And he kicks it and they get sprayed, and then they unleash the trioxin gas and starts reanimating corpses. And they're like, well, we got to get rid of it. So they burn it. When they burn it, the smoke goes in the air, and then it rains and dumps it onto the cemetery, and everybody
All
comes
of them,
back.
right? I haven't seen that one, man. I think one of the classics that I don't know if it's a classic, but the one in the mall, what is that one?
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead. That one was cool,
And,
man.
and see, and that's why George Romero is one of my favorite directors just ever, because he made the movie because the mall was such an early concept at that point. Like they weren't everywhere.
Mm.
And he was really taking a shot at how the human race had become such consumers that a living dead person, a corpse, a zombie, they would naturally gravitate towards what they did in life. So they were consumers, so they ended up at the mall. And then those people, well, their supplies in the mall, and that's how it all conflicted. I mean, the same way when he did Night of the Living Dead, he put a black main character, and it was so controversial, and he didn't care. He didn't want to make people comfortable. He wanted to actually bring up the issues because that was 1968, and it was such an edgy concept that he wanted to go outside the box and do stuff that people weren't comfortable with. And that's why I've always liked him.
See, that's something that I need to like study up on more, is like directors and everything. I sort of like, there's so much cool history with like why these people make their films and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's cool that you know that stuff. You know, I think it's good to sort of like study up on these people and learn from the best, you know, especially when it comes to sort of the genre that you're kind of going for, you know. But I want to kind of go more still into your filmmaking career here.
Okay.
So you went to the military,
Right.
and so I assume you sort of had a pause on your filmmaking career at that time. But were you still sort of like writing? Were you thinking about movies? Were you thinking, when I'm done with the military stuff, I'm going to get into filmmaking? What was your
Oh,
sort of
absolutely.
mindset
Because
there?
I mean, ever since high school, one of my best friends, Joseph Blez, who, I mean,
Yeah.
I think Kevin's probably the only one that hasn't. Have you worked with Joseph
Yeah.
Blez?
No, so no.
Because I mean, we grew up together. We were best friends since elementary school, and that was always our thing, that we wanted to make movies. I mean, for I think 1 year for Halloween, I won as Jason Voorhees, and he won as Brandon Lee from The Crow. I mean, we always wanted to do it. And then he ended up going to Florida and started working on films and getting the experience. I joined the military. We came back and we're like, well, hell, man, now's the time to do it. And that's when we started getting more into it. And he's like, well, he started doing some projects, and that's when Happy Birthday came about.
Right.
And he's like, I just don't know where to film it. And we ended up just gutting my entire garage one night. I said, well, let's film it right here.
So that was the first film that you guys ever did, right? Or pretty much?
Him and I together, yeah.
That was the first bigger film that you did, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, because after high school, most people get, you know, graduation gifts because they're planning on going to college. Well, I was joining the military. The only thing I wanted for my graduation gift was a camera.
Okay.
So I got a micro digital 8 camera as a graduation gift.
Wow.
And that's when like Jackass and CK,
Yeah.
all the videos were so popular. So of course I had a video camera. So me and my friends went out and did stupid stuff. I'm like, man, we should actually do something with this besides get hurt. You know what I mean?
Did you guys have a name? I used to do the same thing. We were called Random Shit TV. So we'd do a bunch of random stuff, and like I would edit it all and we'd put it online. It was really stupid, man. But yeah, we did a bunch of stupid stuff too. Did you guys have like a name for your group?
Just WTF.
Okay.
And that's what it was. And I guarantee I still have it, but it's on a VHS tape.
Oh my God. You got to show that to me. I'd love to see it.
It's pretty,
pretty graphic.
It's pretty interesting stuff.
All right. So from there, though, you go and make Happy Birthday. What was that like pre-production wise? Because, you know, you're getting a cast that's maybe not just your friends. Like you got Dylan and Rob Merritt. Like, what was the process of finding those guys?
Well, that was Joe. Joe just put out a casting call, and he said, hey, I got these guys. They both interviewed they both wanted the same role. He goes, but they just volunteered to do it. And yeah, I mean, it was a cool experience. During the production, it turned into a nightmare because we were in a garage. It was raining. And of course, I live in a small town, so all the rednecks are driving by and loud, cut off exhaust trucks. So we'd always be, all right, hold on. All right, go ahead, stop. Hold on. And we had Dylan actually tied up to a chair for
12 hours.
12 hours.
I'll never forget.
And he's like, all I want's a cigarette. I'm like, well, we can carry you in the chair outside. But instead of like thinking, you know, planning ahead, like, well, we can just make it look like he's tied up. No, we actually tied him to a chair. He's like, I'm starting to get cold. So we took the spotlight and just pointed it at him.
Wasn't it like in November or October or something?
Yeah, it was like right around the fall. It was like October, November. It was
cold.
You're like, it was
but
cold.
it was so weird because we blacked out every window. And 12 hours later, I'm like, man, it feels so late. We walk outside and there's sun shining. Like we all come out like just out of like a cave or something. We're all like eyes adjusting to outside. I'm like, man, this is
well. And then
awful.
recently, didn't Happy Birthday just win something from the Cedar Rapids Festival, right?
Yep, Joe got silver at the Cedar Rapids Film Fest for that.
That's awesome, man.
That's a big deal because it's really hard to get awards there.
I didn't even know Cedar Rapids had a film festival, so that's cool. I wish
it was funny because Joe told me, he's like, hey, it got selected. I'm like, that's great. I go, I can't wait to see it on the big screen. And then COVID hit. And they're like, well, we're gonna cancel it. I'm like, okay.
So it was canceled for like 2 years.
Yeah, it was like a 2-year hiatus. And then next thing I know, I see Rob Merritt on Facebook. He's like, oh, Joe wasn't here, so I accepted for him. I'm like, like crap. So I called Joe. I'm like, hey, congratulations, man. He's like, well, thanks.
That's cool, man. Well, and like, yeah, because that film came out like, 2 years ago, 2019 or 2020, maybe, or
Yeah, about there.
before the
2019.
pandemic.
Yeah, it was
became
before the
this huge,
pandemic
massive
because
thing. But I mean,
because it also got selected for Halloween Palooza last year too. He ended it in that one.
oh yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked Happy Birthday. I thought it had good comedic like timing. Like I think you and Rob did so good on that. I know originally you were saying that it wasn't even supposed to be a comedy, right? But sort of the way you guys like
but just
adapted the characters, you kind of turned it into more of a.
But it was so funny because we wanted Joseph actually went to get food because we were going to have lunch. And God, Rob was like, we need more smoke. We need more smoke. So he filled the garage and the basement with smoke. And Joe walks in with food. And it was like a hot box, man. Smoke come rolling. And Joe goes, what did I miss? Well, we got to take the smoke machine away from Rob. So Rob, if you're listening, yeah, quit playing with the smoke machine.
Did Rob have his own smoke machine or was it your guys?
It was mine.
Okay,
And
so he's
"Let's
like,
put
I'm
a little
just gonna
smoke
take
in
it.
here. But yeah, he's sitting there. He's like just hovering it. And my wife at the time, she was in the house. She goes, will you guys quit? There's smoke coming up through the floorboards. So I'm like,
People are
we
gonna think
may
you're
have a
super
little,
hot
we may
boxing,
have a
man.
little too much in the house now.
So for someone who's kind of new to everything with the Iowa film, is that available for anybody to watch it anywhere?
Oh yeah, it's
on
Joseph's got it on YouTube right now.
Okay, so
It's on Creature in the Crypt, right? Is that
Creature in the Creep.
Creature in the Creep? Yeah.
Yep. And then on his personal page, it's on there too. So
Yeah.
We should share our whiskey story.
yeah, I thought Dylan was gonna get me arrested for contributing to a minor.
So on set, I was getting my makeup done and everything, and then
We
he
got
was
to talk
talk-
about we got to talk about the Slipknot whiskey.
Yes, something I've always wanted to try. And I was like, do you have any? Can I take a shot? And then Rob Merritt's like, we're taking shots. And then it involved all of us drinking a whole bottle of whiskey before we started filming.
But it was funny because I walk over and I
I mean,
had
I'm sure that
and
kept
Di-
you warm.
and Dylan's getting all his makeup done. I hand him a shot glass, this little bit of whiskey so he can try it. He's like, man, when I turn 21, I can't wait to buy a bottle. And I go, what? He goes, give me that bag. He's like, nah, I'm just screwing with you, man. That's what it's. I'm like, yeah, it's funny. Yeah, cool.
So go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, do you think the whiskey attributed to it being a comedy?
I really do. I
You
really
do?
do.
Hey, by the way, you're like, you know what?
Kind of loosened you up
Because
a little
Rob
bit.
Merritt and I were practicing outside our lines and stuff, and then we kept like throwing ideas back and forth, and all of a sudden, like it kind of turned into a comedy, but it just like kept escalating every take we were doing, and then it involved us ad-libbing a lot, and it turned into because it wasn't like it had dark humor, and that was about it.
Yeah.
And then we just all of a sudden I was a 30-year-old nerd living in his mom's basement, which is not a part of the story, but that's kind of what my character became. And then Rob Merritt's character kind of became a doof, and it just
The worst part was that he was supposed to fire up a chainsaw and kill Dylan, but it was so damn cold we couldn't get the chainsaw to fire up. So the scene was supposed to be him pulling it, starting, and then he'd pull it, and finally sitting there standing on it, and it took forever.
yeah.
Did it
And the funny
actually?
part was that we actually used my brother's chainsaw for the movie.
Hmm.
And I go, hey, can I borrow your chainsaw? He's like, what are you guys doing? I go, we're killing somebody. He's like, no, really, what are you doing with it? I go, we're killing somebody. He's like, and my brother starts wiping down the chainsaw. He's like, I'm just getting my fingerprints off here before you take this thing. I'm like,
Didn't
Yeah, I don't
an
know.
off-duty cop show up eventually too?
yeah, I had a friend that was reserve PD, and he actually showed up, and we had Dylan tied to a chair and blood everywhere and a chainsaw on the floor.
He's like, well, this is not my first
He,
time.
he walked in, he goes, am I interrupting anything? And we're like, no, dude, you're fine. Come on in. Just
I tell you what, nothing is more terrifying than being tied up to a chair and have a running chainsaw up to your chest and Rob Merritt hanging on.
And
to
the worst
that.
part was we didn't take the chain off of it because we didn't think he was gonna jut at Dylan.
Were you guys? There was an actual real straight
That-
chainsaw.
That was a real chainsaw.
And we were drunk.
I
All
wouldn't
right.
say completely.
All right. Well,
Tipsy may have been a better word.
Yeah, it was
Is this
tipsy.
where
Well,
we flash the
I-
disclaimer across the
disclaimer,
bottom of the
disclaimer.
screen?
We cut this.
only professionals operated the chainsaw machine. So from Happy Birthday, you guys went on to do another film called American Dream that sadly, I believe, has been scrapped at the moment, right?
As
Or-
far as I know, I mean, he's still sitting on that one, but I'd love to see it come out. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
it's a really heavy content.
Well, I mean, it is.
and that one, people talk about movies being cursed. And I hope I don't offend Joseph, but man, that one felt cursed.
yeah,
the
there's a
weather
lot
was
of things,
awful
dude.
because it was either super hot And then the superstorm, like it wasn't derecho, but
It was
that
bad.
That big storm came through, knocked out power. So we're fighting the rest of the day trying to get everything running on batteries. We're like, oh, we got 1% left. So if we're gonna do it, we gotta do it now.
Well, that, and then there was a moment in the day where it's like we literally couldn't do anything until the power came on. So we were just kind of chilling while the storm calmed down, and eventually the power came back on. And we were able to resume and finish. But yeah, man, that was a hard shoot. I don't remember how many pages it was. Do you remember, Dylan?
Oh, maybe 30 pages. It was a little longer.
It was
a longer
30
film.
pages.
I think it was more like, I was thinking like between 14 or 18, something like that.
I don't think it was 30 pages because we only had 3 shooting days, man.
Okay.
It was a lot. It was a lot to do within 3 days. I know that. But we ended up getting it done. And, I think a lot of people worked really hard on it. But I mean, I understand it sometimes it can be super overwhelming to edit that much.
And the funny thing is, when we filmed that scene in the basement, at the final day of filming, there was blood all over the floor. And that was actually my friend's house that we were filming in.
Oh, yeah,
And I
right.
go, do we need to clean up the blood? He's like, don't worry about it. And he's, well, they had to have a plumber come and work on his AC.
Oh,
And he
no.
walked downstairs and he goes, what happened down there? And he's like, oh my God. He goes, I'm sorry, there was a movie down there. Because there was just blood and just absolutely everywhere.
I'm
my
sure the
God.
plumber didn't buy it either, because like a movie being made here in Iowa.
Yeah, like,
You're
a
hiding
movie in the
something.
basement. There's just
Someone
blood
got
everywhere.
Yeah. So from there, you sort of started your own production company, Hevioso, and you went on to make.
Because yeah, the earlier ones with Creature in the Creep, that was me, that was Joseph and myself. Because he filmed another one after that, Leaving Eden,
Yeah.
which I know is in post production. He's been working on that, but he actually went back to school
Okay.
and he's been doing digital marketing, and he's actually been doing commercials for our local hospital, ads for that. So he's been super busy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll kind of do this and, we'll kind of work on it. We make offers for him to come on, but he's been so busy lately. But
Yeah.
yeah, I branched off and went to Hevioso.
Yeah. So you started doing your own thing and writing your own projects, and then you went on to make Flee the Light,
Yep.
right? What was that like? Sort of not that Joseph wasn't your partner at the time, but this was sort of your own beast, right? What
Right.
was that like? And were you nervous, this being your like actual first shot at being a first time director necessarily?
I thought, no sweat, this is no big deal. But then when you actually get rolling and you realize that everything's on your shoulders, planning, you got to get the actors, you got to get the locations, you got to set the schedule. Like the day before, I'm like, holy shit, this is tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it came fast, man. And like, it's another set that we had like a small issue during the day that we were like, oh man, this is gonna hold the film. Like, what are we gonna do? And then
somebody came home and they were we were upstairs filming, they were downstairs, and they came in, they turned on the TV. There's a kid playing downstairs. I'm like, holy crap. I go, we literally have like 30 minutes left. We just need to finish. And we're all looking at our phones and, well, I guess we can do this day, we'll bring people back 2 weeks later just to finish the last, 30 seconds of this film.
and then
But luckily stuff panned out because everybody was carrying stuff downstairs. I'm like, nope, everybody back upstairs. I go, this is happening right now. We're gonna finish it.
yeah, and then we ended up finishing it. And
That was like the most stressful moment. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna get this done. And oh shit, maybe we're not gonna get it done. I go, how the hell did I hit a road bump already?
well, because I still have because we were talking about it. I had a photo of the light to reference it when we came back, like a couple weeks later. I was like, man, we're gonna have to try to match the lighting. So I'm gonna take a photo of this, and like my phone will have like I don't know what it's called, like memories almost. So it will be this thing where it's like I'll just get this random photo of like these light stands. I'm like, oh yeah, that's when we almost had to fucking stop filming Flee Light. So yeah, so you went on to write Devil's Gambit, and we have a question here which kind of leads into what I was wondering. Do you have any aspirations on making a feature?
I would love to. It's mainly a time thing, time and funding, because that seems to be the biggest hurdle in independent filmmaking is the money to actually get stuff rolling.
Yeah.
I actually have one written. I'm not gonna reveal. It's a big surprise, but yeah, I would love to do a feature film, and that brings about the anthology project that, so everybody knows, could be coming in the future. Kevin's been brought on board to help write on that, and
Kevin, and then Jacob Daniels,
Jacob
and
Daniels,
Damien Alan
and
Mancino.
Damien.
So what does sort of collaboration mean to you? I think we all sort of like work off of each other, and what was sort of the thought process of having like all these writers on board? Like, what sort of motivated that?
I mean, everybody has their own style. I mean, you genuinely see everybody's own personality come out, and like the way the dialogue goes, the way the story flows, the shots, the just the ambience of the film. I mean, just everybody has their own thing. And I just thought it'd be so neat to have 4 people write a story, each individual story, you know, it's its own monster, but somehow crossing into each other. It's like this world of evil and monsters all tied in together, but different. Everybody's got their own little spin and tweak on it. I don't know. I just thought it'd be super cool. I just thought it was a really neat idea.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you reached out to sort of, newer people in our group, and then
Yep.
Damien, and I think you guys are pretty much there with your scripts, and now it's just sort of getting ready to figure out how everything's
I think
gonna be
I think the
structured.
difficult part is going to take 4 different stories and getting 4 to overlap. It's almost like
Mm-hmm.
stuff's going to have to happen pretty fluid to make everything work. So
I think it's a really interesting take on just the genre of suspense. I don't know if it's ever been done. It reminds me sort of those box sets of like those horror films that would come in one, like, you know what I'm talking about? I don't know what they were called, but like it was a box set and it'd be like 6 horror films and one thing. I can't remember what they're called though. I don't know. It was like a super popular thing a long time ago, but what was my question?
Well,
I
I think
know-
there's
I know-
something like Scary Movies in the Dark.
No,
and
it's
they
not
released,
that.
Like
I
12
know Creep
different
Show used to do
ones.
it, like-
Yeah, Creep
Yeah.
Show.
Creepshow.
Stephen King and George Romero, or Stephen King wrote Creepshow, which was a
No.
collection of stories, but they didn't overlap each other.
I mean, to be fair, these were like some D-rated horror films. These weren't like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It just,
I've seen some bad ones where the guy kind of like shuffles, but he does like the whole body movement. You can hear like each footstep when he walks. Some of them are. pretty
I
bad.
wish I could remember what they were called. If someone's in the chat, please find it for me. But so what kind of brought you in on this project and made you interested in working on it?
Well, I think I would honestly have to go back to when I was working on that one horror feature, and I was kind of like dead in the water with it. No pun intended. That was a happy accident. And I needed someone to read it over it. And I reached out to you to be like, do you know anybody that would mind taking a look? And you were like, you know what? I got a guy. And your guy happened to be Derek.
Well, originally it was like, do you want to read this, Michael? I was like, no.
Yeah, you're like, not really.
But Derek would. Derek loves horror. Yeah.
And so then I sent the feature film to Derek. Derek reads it. He gets back to me and we talk about it and everything. So like we were just kind of having a banter, and it wasn't anything like it's total garbage, but like this might work better. You know, a lot of this is going on. Maybe look at adjusting that. And so it's just really good, just feedback. And then we do the investigating Christmas and we meet in person, and then we talk a little bit more. And then I get a message from him. Hey, you want to, kind of like return the favor and read over mine. And I did. And I was like, this story is amazing. And like a few little tweaks or, just some suggestions I have, and then see if you want to run with them. If not, no worries. The story's there and it's solid. And it was just a really good collaboration. And then, being on set and actually being part of the crew and watching it made, I'm like, this is something special. Like I like the setup and I like the collaboration. So then when he mentioned, I'm thinking about this anthology project. Let's take 4 separate people, 4 separate stories, and let's intertwine them creatively. But every story is different because it's done and it's written by a completely different person. And I was like, I'm in. Like, I don't even care who else is with us. I don't care. Like, it's me, Derek, whoever else. It's going to be great. Like, this is going to be so much fun.
Well, I haven't had the chance to read yours, or I don't know if is yours done yet.
Mine's almost done, but I haven't sent it out to anybody yet.
Ah.
And Damien told me he could get back to me. He's like, well, when do you need it by? I'm like, well, don't rush it. I mean, I don't want you to feel like you have to get it out.
It's not like we're filming this next week, like you have time. The only one I've read so far is like Jake's, man. Jake's is so fucking good.
It's trippy.
Dude, it's good, man. And like, I don't read a lot of scripts. Like that's the downfall about me. And people will send me their scripts and it's like, I never get to it and I feel bad. I'm working with Michael Minard, and I didn't read the script at all until the table read happened. And then I was like, whoa, this was kind of cool. Cause I didn't know what the hell was going to happen. So it almost made it more exciting in a way to not read the script, but I need to read the scripts. But anyway, that was all to say. Jake did a good job on that. So I'm excited to see what you guys come up with on that.
I'm intrigued. Sounds really
So other than this project, what else do you sort of have planned? Is there anything else that you're kind of working on, thinking about?
I do. I have a couple I'm writing right now, along with the anthology project. I want to do a military-based film. So I'm going to back out of the horror genre for a while because obviously the military is something dear to me.
Mhm.
So that'll be a neat story. A about a young man that lost his father. He's kind of going down the wrong path. He's introduced to a man that kind of explains to him about, you know, the hardships of being a veteran. It's not always about you. I mean, people don't I mean, parents that go to are deployed, I mean, they're not doing it to hurt you. I mean, there's a bigger purpose. And the kid tries to enlighten the kid about it.
Right.
There's a big twist at the end. I'd kind of like to say that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you probably should say that.
Yeah.
But, you know, talking about the military, we were able to work on a really cool project with the bombshells.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about that.
Oh, the Bombshell Patriots. It's the so there's so many veterans programs to help support, you know, military personnel, but there's not a whole lot of help for female veterans that support come home. You know, they're looking for their place. They feel like they don't fit in everywhere. Oh my God, I can't think of her name right now.
I can't remember her name either. I was hoping that you would remember.
You
That's why I didn't talk about-
you put me on the spot.
I can't, but I mean, if you go to their website, you can find out.
But yeah, absolutely. But she organized the first ever all female veterans conference in the state of Iowa.
Yeah.
So we got to go there. We got to meet female veterans, hear their story, kind of see the stuff they went through, the hardships they adjust to coming home. And there were, I mean, I got to meet some incredible women. There were women that were nurses in Vietnam coming to tell their stories, and just hearing them explain stuff. I mean, what it was like coming home. They would come home in uniform and they'd get mistaken for men just because they see the uniform and they just assumed that it wasn't a woman. So just the stories they told us so cool. And they actually just had another conference in Nebraska. They just did one.
Wow. Yeah.
So they're branching out and expanding. So we're doing a documentary about the first conference, and we hope to get it done to them.
Yeah, we want to get it soon. You know, we haven't had a chance to look at too much of the footage yet, but it's definitely something that we're passionate about. And
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
That's something that's super important that that should be coming out at some point, and you know, we just got to get
Hopefully early fall.
Yeah. But yeah, man, there's a lot of, I mean, just from talking to, God, I wish I could remember her name. I feel horrible, but man, she just had some really good stories, and the reason why she even started this. And yeah, that's a project I'm really excited to get to work on.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, what was I thinking? I'm so sorry. I forgot. Dylan. Yeah.
Is this an
Oh,
awkward pause?
This is an awkward pause because I lost my.
Oh no, I mean, but along with that, I mean, other projects we got going on. There actually is a film that's going to be branched off. Anybody that has seen Flee the Light, we're branching off of that. I'm extending that universe, and there's going to be a much bloodier.
Oh yeah, yes.
Which you and I have talked about before.
Yeah, and we have. Do you want to talk about the cast at all?
We can.
Yeah, well, so I mean, shout out to Patrick.
Oh yeah,
he's sort of like the
Patrick Game will be in there, and I'm going to give him a role that I don't think he's ever taken on before.
I don't think so either, man. And I'm excited. You know, he's not playing the older guy. He's
yeah, he's not playing. You know, don't yell at me, Pat. You're not playing someone's grandma. You got a
grandpa.
You're playing a. It's going to be a pretty dark character.
Yeah, no, I mean it is, and then we're sort of doing it in black and white.
Yeah, we're gonna shoot the whole thing in black and white,
which I haven't had the chance to do in a long time. So I'm excited to sort of play with the shadows and stuff and make it sort of this kind of evil, twisted.
Make it, yeah,
and it's a short story. It's nothing that's too crazy, but something that's a lot of fun. You know,
it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, other than that, where can people find some of the stuff that you're working on? I mean, I know you have a YouTube channel. Do you have a Facebook page?
I do. Heavy Also Films has a Facebook page, so you can get on.
So you can find like all the stuff there.
Yep, you can find a update. I mean, anytime I got projects coming up, I like to throw it on there. People I work with, I like to throw their projects on there too, just to help spread the word. I love the whole Iowa film community. I mean, it's just.
How did you? I mean, we all have this story of how we found the Iowa film community.
About that.
Yeah. How did you find the Iowa film community?
Actually, oddly enough, I mean, I wasn't even looking for it. I mean, because I didn't know where to look. I mean, it's just you never think of filmmaking in Iowa. I mean, I feel like that's said so many times.
Yeah.
On the podcast, well, I never even. And it just happened one day, and I was going through, and Joseph told me, he goes, "Have you seen this?" And it was Iowa film, and then I saw Iowa actors, and I mean, there's just Eastern Iowa filmmakers. There's just so many pages. I started jumping on, and now the farther I go, I've worked with them. Well, I've worked with them.
Right. That's such a cool
it's so cool seeing it branch out, and then the people you've worked with, you see their projects building up, and then the community. It's such a big community that people, you never knew was there.
Yeah, and you got like Nebraska filmmakers now, like branching into the Iowa filmmakers. It's continuing to grow. It's really cool. What was I gonna ask?
We're all failing, man. We should stop drinking Angry Orchard here, man. I don't know what we're doing.
Well, I think there's one that we have to touch on in the feed here by
Oh, do we got one?
Kayla Marie Smith had a very important question. What's it like being the coolest uncle?
Yeah, what's that like?
Is he blushing?
Maybe.
Is he
How did I know she was gonna get on there? Damn it, Kayla.
blushing?
Well, she knows I'm the coolest uncle because she actually got married last summer and I did the service. So.
Oh, is that the one?
Yep,
that
that's her.
That's so cool.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Derek is always like, "Hey, don't say I do around me. I'm ordained."
Yeah, I mean, one day you and Brittany are gonna mess up and it's gonna happen.
It's happening,
man.
man. Here's the papers. So before we wrap up here, I know Dylan has a question that he always likes to ask people.
Yeah, so if you could jump into a time machine right now and travel back to a younger Derek, what kind of advice would you give him about life or in life?
Start sooner and don't be afraid to do it. I think that was the hardest part for me. I was so scared about taking the jump and saying, man, this is what I want to do. I'm going to pursue it. So that's kind of why I held off also. I'm like, man, I don't know. I mean, I could do it. I mean, should I do it? I don't know. Just go for it. I mean, the film community is so strong. There's always somebody to help you, and there's always somebody willing to help. Like, for example, when Allie put up her script for Rosie's Necklace, which we all know is an amazing film.
Yeah.
She just happened to be on there. Damien saw it and brought it up to it, and we made something incredible.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I guess my advice to myself would be there's going to be somebody there to support you. I mean, the help is out there if you just look for it.
Well, we had Finch on here and they were talking about like how people want to have these like roles, you know what I'm saying? Like they want to go for these roles that are super heavy and like that just takes a person like reaching out and seeing if anyone's interested in even doing it. You know, I think that you have to sort of take that jump, and so many of us are alike that, you know, someone wants to work on a project just like yours, you know, so you might as well just shoot your shot. And I mean,
Absolutely.
the worst thing is like no one sees it that time, but that doesn't mean that no one's going to see it the next time. And
Right.
yeah, I mean, definitely for Allie, and she just sent us another script recently that was super good that hopefully that we can turn into something. Yeah, shout out to Allie, man. She's a really good writer. And I'm excited to see more of the stuff that she writes as she sort of goes through her writing.
I'm going to start holding a grudge against Allie if she keeps writing stuff that makes me cry. So.
You know, it'd almost be cool as if you get her on the anthology project as well. Give her a new genre to sort of run after.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
That might be cool.
That's
Maybe
fine.
hit her up.
If she's listening, expect a message now.
All
So
right,
I
cool.
wanted to ask real quick, since you and I are dads, so what's your son think of this whole filmmaking?
My son
career?
gets upset when I have to drop him off at his grandma's or his mother's because he wants to go on set with me.
Yeah.
And it's like the most heartwarming thing because I'll come home and he'll be like, hey, Dad, I wrote this script. We should make a movie.
Cool.
Well, he was just talking to me. He's like, I have this story I want to write. I was like, dude, that's cool. You should write it.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
I think he's sort of following in your footsteps,
Yeah, I mean,
man.
and he loves it because, and the funny thing is that I have a habit, like when we're watching or listening to something, like a song or even a movie, I'll be like, hey, who's that? Well, and he'll give a character. I'm like, no, who's the actor? And he starts remembering actors. He can call out music from the 60s and 70s now. He'll call out musicians. It's just a fun game we start playing. And it's just he gets so into what I'm doing that he's kind of following. He's like, I'm writing this one. It's about people that get killed. I'm like, hey, don't write it at school because I don't need like a phone call saying, hey,
Right.
your kid's writing snuff films.
My toddler is kind of invested because he's like really fascinated with watching YouTube. You know, we're all guilty of kind of giving our kids tablets to watch stuff on. But my son has seen or heard of a lot of my films, and then I've done some darker stuff, you know, and like he's like really fascinated with, Dad, we should make a movie where everybody dies. I'm like, whoa, buddy, that is deep and dark, and
You've been hanging out with me too much.
yeah, don't inspire me. That's advice.
See, Declan's cool like that because Declan's always like, he's like, I can come on set. I can do this for you. And he actually was on set for when we were helping Joseph with Leaving Eden. He was on set for one of the days.
Oh, cool.
And I'm like, every time I'm like, hey, we gotta be quiet. He would just sit there and be quiet.
So I wanted to ask, like, sort of being a creative parent that you are, do you sort of like push Declan to do these creative things?
I want Declan to achieve everything he wants to achieve. If he wants to write movies and make movies, I'll support him. If he wants to be a gamer, I'll support him as much as I can. As long as he still focuses on education,
Yeah.
which he has. I mean, he's turned himself. I mean, because he was kind of, I'll put that on myself. I mean, I got so focused on what I was doing, I kind of wasn't fully paying attention, but now we've got him back on track. He's doing great in school, and he's writing these little scripts that he gives me. And during the pandemic, I got bored on my iPhone. We make a little video, that one's not out, so nobody can see that one. It's a little stuffed animal that sneaks out of his room, and Declan's sitting on the couch, and he looks over, and there's this little stuffed animal. He's like, "Get back in my room!" And this little thing creeps off and runs across the floor. He likes doing it. I mean, and it's neat having him enjoy it as much as I do.
Is it cool being a person who loves movies so much that your son is starting to love movies as much as you love movies? Is that sort of like a magical thing to sort of experience?
It is. It's really cool. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, I bet, man. I mean, that's the coolest thing about having a kid, probably, is that they sort of mimic you a little bit. You know, you guys are all dads, so sort of a cool thing.
You and Brittany gonna have a kid?
No, not for a while. You know, I want to be 30, probably.
You're almost there.
Dude, I was 26 when I became a dad.
4 years, man. You were what?
I was 26 when I became a dad.
Yeah, man.
And I'll tell you what, he's got too much energy for me. There's just times I can't keep up.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, I get up at 10 a.m. I don't want to get up any earlier. If a kid wakes me up at 5 a.m., I'm gonna kick it.
Dude, speaking of the
kick the baby.
I'm gonna kick the baby.
Jasper and I went to bed early yesterday at 5 because we were just both beat for whatever reason, and then we were both up till like 4 in the morning.
Say 5 p.m. You were?
Yeah, dude. It was supposed to be just a little nap.
Right.
But it ended up being we woke up at 9 and we were up till 4, and I'm getting old. I'm tired. And I was
You're
like,
28, Dylan, man. I
dude,
love you,
I'm
bro. I
almost
love that
30.
you say you're old, man. You're 2 years old,
I'm feeling it though. I'm gaining weight. My back hurts. My feet hurt.
God, you guys make
I
old
can't
sound
hear.
horrible.
Dude, I'm almost turning 30.
When I
and
look
it's
at
good.
Pat, I'm like, man, being 70 is dope. When I look at you 30-year-olds, I'm like, man, 30 looks horrible. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But anyway, Derek, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. It's been a long time coming. We're excited to have you on here. Last time you were on here, you were giving Dylan and Damien some hot ass wings. This time you were on here talking about your films. So we appreciate you coming on here, man.
And Dylan may not admit it, but when I was giving him those guys sitting next to him, he may play it off like the wings weren't that bad, but his hands were shaking sitting next to him.
it was pretty
His
bad,
hand was
man.
sitting
And
there
I
doing
love
this
hot
little number.
stuff.
I'm like, you all right? He's like, can I get some water or something like that? And I'm like,
Yeah, no, man. It was burning through my gloves.
We got to do some sort of stream again like that, man. That was so much fun.
It was.
If I can give another
Use my-
tattoo to
use my
Damien.
tattoo Damien.
How
again.
long did
Right.
that stream go again?
Long time.
4 or 5 hours. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we went way past what we were supposed to.
Here's the thing that I learned from that. I got to make sure my audio is better because I don't know if you checked out the audio after. It was bad. So I'm even amazed that people donated to us. Very grateful. Thank you again for that. But yeah, if we do that again, definitely want to make sure the audio is a lot better. But that was a lot of fun, and we got to do something really cool for charity. And we got
I
to
think every awareness something we should like
That would be cool.
try to
it would be cool.
keep up with that.
And then I'm sure we're gonna go back and do another Halloween festival this year. That was a lot of fun. Hopefully we can do that again. And we got a lot of plans, man. You got to come back and judge again for the horror film.
Oh yeah.
Oh, real quick, let's talk about that. What was that sort of like? Well, and that leads me to the next thing real quick. I'm sorry. I know we were about to wrap up here, but I got some more questions. I'm so sorry.
Yes.
What was it like judging independent horror films? I think it was fun for me, to see all these people with their, because even Kevin was a judge too, man.
I pulled an all-nighter to make sure I got those in.
You did. It was sort of like last minute. You're like, hey man, I'm going to get it to you, but it's going to be late. But you ended up getting it. What was that like sort of judging independent film?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, and it was kind of like what I was talking about earlier. And for the anthology project, I love seeing everybody's style because like I said, I don't like generic cookie cutter, like, well, let's just get it out. Let's just get it out. Let's just get it out. I mean, I love it when people put their own flavor into it and it feels different.
And there were so many.
Yeah, those movies were so good.
Dude, there were so many that were so good. And like some of them that like, you can tell they were relatively new filmmakers, but like, their ideas were super creative. Like that's how I seen Jake's work. And I loved like what he did. And there was this one team that, what was it? It was like those two people going through the woods and like the monster was.
Yes.
I can't remember
that.
Yeah, I loved it, man. It was like, you can tell they were maybe a little newer to making a film, but it was so
Was
funny.
that the one where they were giving like scorecards? Or
Yeah.
It was almost like Siskel and Ebert.
Siskel and Ebert to the
horror.
murders.
Yeah,
and Eventually they got bored of it. And
Yeah.
Whatever. And then they became the victim. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, there were so many good ones, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. So I look forward to doing that. But then you sort of messaged me recently talking about like this idea of having a film festival based around veterans, right?
I did, because I know myself and I know numerous other filmmakers that have a military background. We served in the military, and I would love to have a festival or contest for military veteran filmmakers.
Yeah, and I think
Actually, I think that'd be-
so stand
yeah.
out, man. You know, and I think that like that would be so good for the community. Especially like I mean, dude, I'm sure there's so many people like you who want to make movies that were in the military. And
Oh,
stuff.
absolutely.
I just thought of a cool streaming event.
What?
So what if we like have a film festival for the veterans and people donate and we can send it to like some kind of donation and like
Like
donate for
the-
their favorite film and whoever gets which film gets the most donations becomes the winner.
That's
Ah,
interesting.
Maybe something in that.
Yeah, I mean, or you could do the thing. Whoever wins, like, there's a lump sum of money, and like that money can go towards whatever donation they want.
There's actually one place. If we did that, there's one foundation I would love to support. It's called Till Valhalla,
Hmm.
and it's what happens is they support veterans that were either killed, missing in action, or decided to take their own lives. What they do is the money they raise from shirts, bracelets, hats, mugs, all that stuff, they actually make plaques with the service member's picture, their service dates, their branch, everything, and they actually give it to the family of the service member that's not with us anymore.
Wow, man, that's awesome. Yeah. There's so many things that you could do for that, dude, that I think would be so good for the community.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and you could do so many things. So I think that'd be something fun to work towards. And yeah, we got a lot of plans. I mean, we're staying busy. We're working on Batman. We've been doing a lot of stuff, man. Dylan's dying over there.
Keeping it busy.
All right, cool. Well, again, Derek, thank you so much for coming on here,
No
man. Check out Heavy Oso on YouTube or Facebook to find out some of your work. Other than that, we have Wes Worthing coming on the show tomorrow. Very excited to talk to him. He's been a big supporter of our film, so it's good to finally meet the man who's helped us make a lot of stuff that we've made. And yeah, other than that, got anything else?
I think I'm good.
All right, cool. Until next time, we'll see you on Indie Social.